We want to talk about electricity prices. We are joined by Isaac Ndereva. He is an electricity billing expert and also the executive director of the Electricity Consumer Society of Kenya. Isaac, Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, Eric.
How are you doing?
I'm doing well.
Karibu sana.
Asante City. How are you doing?
I'm very well, thank you, sir.
Good, thank you.
Nimeshukuru sana.
Asante.
Yes.
City, why don't you welcome Isaac with the day's proverb?
Yes, our proverbs for the whole of this week come from the country of Nigeria.
Nigeria.
A one-legged man is seldom thankful to God until he sees a crippled person.
Yeah, that's straightforward. That's a straightforward.
It's a straightforward one.
It's a straightforward one.
So what do you think the deeper meaning is?
The deeper meaning is that people don't appreciate what they have until they find someone else who doesn't have what they have. Sometimes people are quick to complain about what they don't have without knowing that what they have is God-given and someone else didn't get what they got. Yeah.
It's already a gift.
It's already a gift.
You're already blessed.
Yeah. The others are normally quite hard, but that one was a bit easy for me today. Nigeria must be very good friends there. Yeah. I hope they are able to pay for their power. Yes.
You're lucky that Ndu is not here. She'd have given you the proverb in pidgin. Then it would have asked you to translate it to English.
Oh.
Tomorrow and Wednesday and the rest of the week's guests.
This is the first time I'm finding into not in the studio. So there is not gender balance, but there is age balance. Because I actually saw someone who was 72 years who passed on yesterday. And she looked like she is 40 years. Yeah. That can't be 72 years.
That's Liz Waymaker.
If she is 72, then it means city's age can be different from that.
This man is going to say I'm around 90.
No.
Yes.
But she didn't have any white hair.
Where he's heading.
We know where he's heading with that one, don't we?
Isaac.
Yes.
There's a story in the People Daily today.
Yeah.
Small businesses in Kenya are facing a steep increase in their electricity bills this month after the Energy and Petroleum Regulatory Authority revised the tariffs by an estimated 11.6%. According to the regulator, the hike is mainly due to the rise in the foreign exchange rate fluctuation adjustment, which reflects the cost of servicing foreign currency loans used to finance power generation projects. The FERFA more than doubled from 3.169 kilowatt hours in December to 6.46 kilowatt hours in January. EPRA explained that the change was triggered by a surge in foreign currency payments made by KPLC towards outstanding power purchase costs and Kenyan's loan repayments in December that amounted to 938 million shillings and 274 million shillings, respectively. They're saying the regulator says KPLC had deferred some of its foreign currency obligations since March last year due to the tight liquidity in the forex market. However, when the market conditions improved in December, KPLC resumed making the pending payments, resulting in a higher foreign exchange fluctuation adjustment. Small businesses paying higher. I want to go, before you come in, to again in November last year, at the end of November last year, at a cabinet meeting, President William Ruto issued a directive to the Ministry of Energy and Petroleum, CS Davis Chirchir, to lower the prices of electricity. In a cabinet dispatch on that day, the cabinet had agreed that electricity prices should be lowered due to the increased use of hydro-generated power. To fortify national response, Cabinet directs the Ministry of Energy to pass the benefit of lower electricity tariffs to the public in a manner that promotes the increased use of hydro-generated power, which has presently increased to 20%, while diesel has gone down from 15% to 10%. That's according to the dispatch in November. Do those two relate? Are they?
These are country of politics, because when you say reduce the cost of power, the cost of power actually could have been reduced. But then if you, like for example, you reduce the cost of power, then you increase the cost of forex. You reduce by, in fact, they reduce by, let me just be specific, because I know they like hitting the numbers. There are those people who consume between 0 to 30 kilowatt hours. Their cost in April was 12.22. So in July, that cost, instead of going down, went up. There was no public participation. It went up. by 0.16% though, to 12.24. And then those who consume between 30 to 100, the year cost gazetted was 16.3. It went up to 16.58. That was an increase of 1.72%. And then those who consume over 100 kilowatt hours, the year cost was 20.97. That one was reduced by 1.86% to 20.58. That is, when you talk of change in power prices and you're hitting Kenya Power and all that, that is a change they made.
Who is they?
Kenya Power. That is a change they made. Now, let's come to EPRA, because that is our biggest problem. First of all, let's agree, EPRA have been paid 0.03 Kenya shillings per kilowatt hour, 3 cents per kilowatt hour, ever since Kibaki time. In July, they increased from 0.03 to 0.08.
From 3 cents to 8 cents.
To 8 cents. That translates from 20 million to around 80 million per month. I didn't hear of any public participation. They didn't even announce it. So that is one thing they did. And remember, these people are supposed to be protecting us from those other players. But they are the ones who gazette the punitive levies and taxes.
What's the EPRA charge?
EPRA charge is 0.08.
What is it?
Sorry?
What is it?
What's the charge for?
What is
It's
it?
basically because we I think that is a good question, because they say that the consumers should pay them something because of protecting us. It's a levy, it's just like the Warma and all that. They are protecting us.
Let's just pause and go back a little bit. What exactly is EPRA supposed to be doing?
EPRA is supposed to be to look at both sides. That these are the generators and these are the distributors and these are the consumers. They should come and agree that you cannot press this guy like that. You are supposed to be here. But what we have seen, EPRA, anything proposed by Kenya Power has been passed the way it is. So I don't think there is anything they protect us in. And so we should not be paying them. But that is number one.
So the EPRA charge is a levy?
It's a levy.
Okay.
Yes.
But does it necessarily go to the operations of EPRA, or does it go into part of government revenues?
No, it goes to EPRA. In fact, they are even complaining that that is not enough.
So it's been 3 cents since
the time I can
EPRA
go back to the bill of 2007. It has been 0.0. And changing that, I think it should take a lot of discussion. But they increased by 167%.
Who did? Parliament or EPRA?
I mean, it's EPRA. What would you say? Would it be the CS or something? But EPRA gazetted and changed the year cost. They didn't even announce it. They didn't even, I didn't even see a gazette notice. In fact, I called them a lot of times. I even went there and told them, I need the gazette notice to this change. They didn't have it. So that is one thing that, we are even tired of going to court.
So then is there a levy that has changed if it's not in Gazette?
We have not seen that levy gazettement.
So how do you know it has changed?
In the bills. I mean, we have the analysis we do for the bills. Yeah. It is in the bills. There is a way we normally, if you pay like 100 shillings, the amount that will go to EPRA and the amount that go to Forex, we are supposed to know how much is it per unit. It's just a computation, and we are able to know that. But because I think these people, you say these people's daily reward. Now, let me read the news aside. First of all, I have said the cost of power had changed with Kenya Power for the issues that I have talked about. But now I know this is what people like hearing. That those who are getting tokens that were 43 at 1,000 shillings, you pay 1,000 shillings. You used to get 43. Now they are getting 37.
You used to get 43 what?
Tokens.
43 units tokens. So in December, now in January.
You pay 1,000,
yes,
it is worth 43.
Yeah. That was in December.
Yeah, so what happens with that 57?
I mean, no.
Taxes and levies.
Those are taxes and levies.
All right, I'm just asking.
Yeah, but you see, okay, so just try to imagine that the cost was 23 shillings. So 1,000 divided by 23, you used to get 43. Now the cost went up to 26.72. So you are getting 37 units. Those are people who are using very little power. Then there is another bracket between 30 to 100. Those who are getting 35 units, they are now getting 31.
Now, the same 1,000, Bob.
For the same 1,000. Now the biggest noise is with the people who are getting 30 units for 1,000. Now they are getting 27. Now what has changed? The cost of power has gone up by 3.66 for all tariffs. 3.66 shillings. That is the change between December and now.
Okay.
So the increase in cost of the percentage, let us leave all that. Just tell people the cost of power went up by 3.66. Then why, and Kenya Power did not increase their power since July? Then you tell them, this is where I think the problem...
Who has the mandate for increasing the cost of power?
It's
Who has
EPRA.
the power?
The cost of power, I told you there is a cost of power and there are the levies. If there is a cost of power called the base tariff, Kenya Power is supposed to apply or propose the increment. They give EPRA.
To EPRA.
Then EPRA does public participation. And then the citizens agree to it.
Okay.
If we don't agree, they are not supposed to change. And that is why we went to court. Because they didn't do Zara.
So this 3.6, they did not ask us.
No, now that one is not on the base tariff. That is not Kenya Power. That is the government that was taking money because of Forex. You heard that is Forex. So they collected more Forex. You know, it's EPRA that gazettes that the government needs this money.
Really?
So Kenya Power, can you pay these people using that money? But it's not your money.
All right. So this bill that we pay,
Yes.
Kenya Power,
Yes.
we are not just paying Kenya Power. We are paying very many other people as well.
We only pay around 40 to 50% to Kenya Power.
Okay.
There is fuel cost for IPPs, diesel. There is Forex. There is Warma. There is rural electrification. All those things.
We pay.
We pay.
We pay. So this story, this is the one, thank you very much. Now I want to understand. This story, so where does subsidy come in? And we're already paying for these things. Because when someone talks subsidy, I'm assuming you've taken some money and put on our behalf. But from everything you're telling me, we've already prepaid for these things.
Is there a power subsidy?
Right now, there isn't.
No, it's the language of subsidy that I want to understand in this context. Because
Now,
it's going to come up.
There is nothing like, okay, subsidy when the former president said there is subsidy from January of 2022 to August.
Was there
First,
subsidy?
There was, let me say there was some 26 billion that was given to Kenya Power to manage that reduction.
Given from where?
Given by other sectors, like if it is Warma, all the other sectors, including even Kenyan, they just...
Which means this money that we were already paying for,
Yes.
there was a kitty, and this is the same money that was being given back, and we'd already paid for it.
Yes.
Or am I getting this thing wrong?
That is right. That is right. Now, but let me talk of this Forex, because I think Forex is where the issue is. Ever since I came to understand about billing, which is more than 15 years ago, Forex has always been less than 1 billion Kenya shillings. Collection. Less than 1 billion.
What is collection?
The collection is, if they say like there is 0.86, you multiply by the unit sold. You realize
Over that per year.
per month.
Per month?
Per month.
As in cumulative billing by Kenya Power.
Let me say, Kenya has a generation of around 1 billion kilowatt hours. Those tokens you buy 10, 15, all that. If you add for including the industries, there will be around 1 billion minus the losses, which are around 20%, 25%.
Okay.
Now, every coin that you hear Forex has changed from 1 to 2. That difference of 1 has to be multiplied by 1 billion.
Yep.
You're right?
Yep.
So now, after all that collection, every month they used to get around 1 billion collection. Now, this month, they collected 5.8 billion. 5.8 billion. You know how much it was in November? 747 million. The highest I had seen was around June of 2023, which was 1.87 billion. Now, 5.8 billion. That has cost the change. You know, actually, the Forex cost has always been 1 shilling, 0.8, 2.13, and we really complained. Then at one point, they brought it to December. It was 3.17.
So this foreign thing, what does it represent? Does it represent that the fluctuation of the shilling against, say, the dollar?
Yes, but let me explain it. What happens? You know, we have IPPs. And by the way, IPPs in that collection were paid 5.4 billion. Out of 5.8, they collected 5.4 billion. But now, when you have loans that were taken in euros and dollars, and perhaps it was around 60 shillings during the signing of the contract, that is in 2007 or thereabout. And then right now, the dollar is around 160 shillings or 150. There's a difference of almost 90 shillings or 80. Now, that difference is the one we keep on paying every time. But now there is a shocker because when you change the forex from 0.8 shillings in November to 6.46, that means you have a whole 5.5 shillings. That is 5.5 billion. Now, did you hear like the dollar actually changed from 160 to 400? No, because that is the ratio we would use there. So that is basically
before
what I
November, one was the last forex adjustment, fluctuation adjustment.
It
before
changes
November.
all the time.
Take us back through the year on those fluctuations and what was happening to that fuel adjustment.
Thank you, Eric. Just slightly before we do that, someone had commented that he had lost some tokens between December and January. Just to answer him quickly is that please note that the cost of power for his tariff was 33.16 in December. In January is 36.81. So getting 30.16, he's now getting 27.17. So the increase is 3.66 shillings, and so he lost 3 units. But there are some people who lost more units, those who consume between 0 to 30 kilowatt hours, because they lost 5.93 kilowatt hours. They were getting 43, they are now getting 37.42, because they also have to increase by 3.66. Those people who are between 30 to 100 lost 4 units, 4.04, because their cost of power is 31.97 now, and they are now getting 31.28 units. So basically the cost of power, the person who is paying the highest is 36.81. At one point when I was here, I said the cost of power will be 40 shillings before we move, before we go for too long. Now it's headed there. We only have about 3 shillings to 40 shillings. So Kenya will be the highest, having the highest cost of power. But now you requested that we check on how are the forex rates for the year. Let me start by November 2022. The cost was 1.41
in November 22.
Yes, and I have all the costs, but the highest you will find all through up to around October 2023 was 2.05. So all the other figures are around there.
So October 2023 it rose to
2.05, but kept on fluctuating. In fact, I had in March it was 2.16, for example. So it has been playing around there, and so we've been collecting between 1 billion to 1.8 billion.
You'll talk about the collection later.
Yes,
that don't increase the confusion. Let's go slowly by slowly.
Okay.
So the forex adjustment charge.
Yes.
November 2022 was 1.41 per unit.
Yes.
The highest you saw was
2.16
in March
2023. Yes.
Right, last year.
Yes, and just in November 2023 it was 0.80. Right.
In December.
Then immediately in December it came to 3.17.
Okay.
And then now in January is 6.46.
January 6.46.
Yeah.
All right.
So that has to be added to the
deal. In any of these adjustments,
yes,
was there any intervention by EPRA?
Actually, it is EPRA that gazettes.
Okay.
Yes.
So EPRA is the one that has been setting this tariff.
Yes.
Every month.
Every month.
And saying this is the fuel.
This is a fuel
foreign exchange rate fluctuation adjustment.
And inflation.
And it puts it there.
Yes.
So this time when it says that it's because of Kenya Power having to pay outstanding power purchase costs and Kengen's loan repayments in December,
yes,
does that explain?
It doesn't explain to me because why do they have to load it in 1 month? That is the first problem.
Okay.
Number two, who is this? First of all, let us agree, IPPs taking 5.4 billion in 1 month is wrong. Because, IPPs normally take around 80%.
80% of?
80% of that collection.
Okay.
It goes to IPPs. On average, because you'll find sometimes they take 96%.
IPPs have not been mentioned in this explanation, Isaac. I want us to focus on the explanation.
Yes.
The regulator said Kenya Power had deferred some of its foreign currency obligations since March last year, when you say it was the highest, 2.16. Since then, it didn't go up, due to the tight liquidity in the forex market. So what they were expecting to push back to their suppliers, they were not doing it. because they were not able to get the dollars on time.
Yes.
However, when the market conditions improved in December 2023, KPLC resumed making the pending payments, resulting to the higher fluctuation adjustment. Does that make sense?
It doesn't make sense to
Why?
me because, first of all, even when you're paying loan, it is normally divided into many months so that you pay slowly. If they had anticipated such kind of a surge, or they were planning that they are going to pay when the dollar is okay, the market is good, the market conditions
The dollar is available.
They should have loaded maybe 1 shilling on top throughout the year because they had a plan. But now coming in January, loading 6 shillings once, and number two, we are not able, because there is a formula that we normally use for computing the forex. Now that formula you can't say because they are trying to prove that we are actually recovering or we are trying to recover some uncharged amount. Now at that point the formula cannot be used, and they have been doing the same even for the fuel cost. And then remember, as they do that, how sure are the citizens, or even us as a society, how sure are we that they have not over collected? You see, maybe it should have been 4.8. Now they have taken 6.46. How can you confirm that? How can the parliament confirm that? The Energy Committee in the Parliament, in the Senate, how can they confirm that? Remember, it is also difficult for them to know how much was loaded. So they don't get those explanations. Nobody comes to explain. It's only us who are trying to make an effort. But you see, it is a government statement that this is what we have done. But then I am wondering, is it the society that should be making an effort to inform the consumers, or is it EPRA? And they should not tell us about the Gazette notice. Because when is the last time you saw a Gazette notice? If you go to the Kenya Law website, you realize even fishing out that Gazette notice is very difficult because it is not labeled. You will have to search among thousands of pages. We have an expertise in searching for them because we know when they are normally gazetted. And that when we say there are some that are never gazetted, we are sure, because our job is mainly to fish them out and look at the truth. The figures I'm giving you are the gazetted figures. So we have all the Gazette notices. But now, besides that, because as experts, we are able to get that information if EPRA are supposed to put it there. How is Mama Mboga supposed to know that?
To know what?
To know the change. Because you see, there is a consumer who should be informed. We have done this because of that.
So you're saying every time you receive a bill,
yes,
and there's a change,
there is always a change.
It should come with an explanation.
Yes, it should come with an explanation. This is a change, or rather, we should have a forum.
But the explanation you want is the technical detail that you want given. Do you think consumers want that technical detail?
It would be important to give the consumers those details because they are taking advantage of the consumers not caring or not knowing. Because like now, the consumers are simply saying, we were getting these tokens, but now they have reduced. That is the only information they have.
Actually, as a consumer, I would like to know.
Yes.
I would definitely want to know how it is, because I'm always puzzled by the electricity bills. I'm genuinely puzzled. How it fluctuates, how it moves.
For example, you'll be among the first people saying, Kenya Power are thieves. Why? Because that is a talk in the street. Kenya Power niwezi. Now, you see, I was getting 43 units. Now I'm getting 27. Remember, they were getting 43. Now they are getting 27. Why? Because you have even changed the tariff without you knowing. Remember, even that tariff, you're supposed to be told that you are now on this tariff, but because of your average for the last 6 months, you have now been changed. That is important.
You see, what I find puzzling is that if I look at electricity consumption at my official residence, there's nothing that has changed.
Mm-hmm.
But that,
as far as you're concerned,
as far as I'm concerned, nothing has changed.
In terms of consumption?
Yes, nothing. I've not added new gadgets. There's nothing. I don't keep the lights on longer hours. I mean, there's nothing that has changed.
You'll be surprised. In the coast region, there's a certain client we were dealing with. They used to pay around 9 million. 9 million for Kenya Power. Actually, it's a hotel. Kenya Power bill of 9 million. That is not a lot. In fact, people like Base Titanium who are closing down were paying 250 million per month. So those who are still clients in another forum. Now, that hotel was paying 9 million. Now, after doing the analysis for this year, they were actually pushing the engineer that the cost of power, we are consuming a lot. And he was unable to explain until we went and told them, you are now paying 18 million because of the changes in the cost of power. Otherwise, your consumption has reduced by 20,000. You get? So they had actually saved in terms of consumption. But look now, instead of them paying less than 9 million, it had doubled.
The cost had gone up.
So they were paying 18 shillings per unit, then they are now paying 28 shillings.
It is that increase that makes me ask the questions and makes me wonder. Because I'm saying, let's say even my consumption changes because I get visitors from our country who stay maybe for a week. They don't stay there forever.
It has nothing to do with consumption.
So I'm wondering, why is it that month after month after month, the fluctuation of the bill has an upward trajectory?
Yes.
So I'm asking, what is happening? See, that's a question I'm asking.
That is a question I need it to be explained to every month. Like now, you see the cost of fuel.
Yes.
Is normally you're normally told the cost of fuel in the media. But the bill is so complicated that the media cannot keep on saying now the cost of power has changed from this to this. Why is that difficult? Because they are also not able to check what are these changes. Now, you will say Kenya Power has stealing because the cost has changed. You have lost 5 tokens from December to now. But remember, it's not Kenya Power. It is a government that has decided this is the time to load Forex to 6 shillings.
And it's EPRA who does that.
It is EPRA who does that. And it is a ministry. It is a ministry. So Kenya Power cannot do that. The cost that had been agreed upon with the consumers, with Kenya Power, it still remains the same. In fact, it's only in July that they reduce a little bit, they increase others, which is neither here nor there. It was a small change. What is actually, because like 0.02 cents may not matter when you're talking about 3.66 shillings, because the increase is 3.66. But now, remember, I have never heard where Forex adjustment was higher than fuel cost on the bill. We've been complaining of the fuel cost. Now, you can imagine fuel cost was around 4 point something shillings. Now, this is 6.46. So we have changed the tactic of saying, oh, let us remove the diesel, IPPs and all that. And remember, even the fuel cost is supposed to reduce because, number one, Kipevu 1 stopped generation. The contract has ended. Muhoroni gas turbine, the contract has ended. Savo Power, the contract ended. So out of the 9, we have removed 3. So we only have...
Have we removed them?
Yes, we have removed them. Because we normally get the generation...
Is it that we no longer need the power they were generating?
We didn't even need, because we said the utilization was 23%. Even Rabai itself, operating at 70%, can be able to serve Mombasa, the whole of Mombasa region. So we don't need all. In fact, even when we were putting Triumph Power, Thika Power, I think Gulf Power, all those, that was conmanship. We didn't need that installation. Even to date, we still have an oversupply. They keep on saying it's because of being on standby. How many times have you found like there was power outage in the whole country?
Well, it's not about power outage. The CEO of Kenya Power has sat here and just told us, for example, now it's rainy season.
Yes.
Is solar generating as much as it's expected to generate? When wind is not operating at optimum, what happens to those sources of power? What happened to in the days when we did not have water in the dams?
And then there's load shedding.
And then when all those things come into play, then you find that you have to go into this one a bit stable power supplier.
That's not true.
Who's a thermal?
That is not true, because
what's untrue?
He told you that because you didn't have the figures. He can't tell me that because I have the figures here.
What is the figure?
We have 5 solar companies that are very strong.
What does very strong mean?
Very strong means they are giving us more. You know, they are 50 megawatt. They are giving us more than 100 million
every day,
kilowatt hours every month. Now we have
no.
Yeah, every day.
Ndereva, you are disputing what he said.
Okay.
So I want you to dispute properly.
Yes.
He said, if the sun has not come up today,
yes,
this is my expected load of consumers today.
Yes.
The sun has not come up. Very well done, solar station. But there's no sun.
Generated.
It has not generated power.
Because there's no sun.
Because there's no sun. What do I do? So you have very good solar generators. But if there's fluctuations in that, what happens? If there are fluctuations in wind, what happens? Now counter that by telling me.
Now, let me tell you.
There's never been a fluctuation in wind or solar.
Okay. Let me just explain in this way, because the figures don't lie. When you come at the end of the month and you realize that wind has given you 200 million kilowatt hours, it doesn't matter when the wind was working or not. It doesn't matter. but you have gotten those kilowatt hours. When it is solar and you've gotten like you have like 100 million kilowatt hours, that is what should go into determining the cost of power, because the mix is different. You didn't generate using thermal throughout, isn't it?
But
because
out of the power consumption is not a monthly issue. It's a minute-by-minute issue.
It's a monthly issue.
If you are sitting at the control,
yes,
would you be saying, no, at the end of the month, I'm going to still to get power from that solar station, so it's okay?
Let me correct you.
Or should you make sure that you have the demand?
Let me correct you. I think it is working how these politicians want Kenyans to think, and that is how I see you have thought. I have told you, when we are talking about the cost of power, it is based on the total monthly generation. It's not the daily.
Yes.
Now, even what you were saying about the kicking in of the thermos and all that.
Monthly cannot exist without the daily.
It is. Then the daily, remember these thermal generators, has kicked in for maybe an hour.
Yes.
So we will still pay the units generated by that thermal plant. Just that. We will not talk of it is so expensive because we came in Nama, because we pay in terms of fuel consumed. You see? So the units generated are based on the fuel consumption, and that is what we pay. So in fact, if we have only generated 50 million using thermos, and we have generated 500 million using solar, you cannot tell me that it is expensive because we brought in thermal, because it came to a certain period and we are paying for it. That is the basis. So nobody should come and say that because of explanation that we have low water levels, we have sometimes we don't have sun, we have this and this, we are agreeing, and we are agreeing that the thermal generators can come in. But when we have the solar, the total generation should determine the price. And I'm happy because that is what is happening currently. Okay. But now, the only challenge I have is when you have 3 power plants that is for thermal, that is Muhoroni gas turbine, Kipevu 1 and Kipevu 2, we were expecting that we would find a change, because everybody is saying, shut off these some IPPs that are using diesel and all that. The diesel cost has not come down. You've just seen we paid 5.4 billion to IPPs. Is that because that there is no sun? No, we have to think like people who are using data. And that data is here with us, and that is what I'm saying. Is anybody trying to tell us that month we didn't have Kidaruma? Kamburu was this and that. We didn't have Orokaria 1 because of this reason and this reason. As a result, we brought in more thermal generators that has made us consume this amount of diesel. So that amount of diesel, because they gazette, that is why we are computing the cost is going to be 3.63.
Isaac,
yeah.
This is what you do on a daily basis.
Yes, exactly.
Right? Fishing data, mining data, understanding, analyzing data, asking questions to the relevant places.
Yes.
Every time you come here, Isaac, you're asking questions. Does it mean that you don't get answers at all?
Number one, the level at which we are, for them to give us an answer or a decision, it has to be cascaded to several other levels.
And what level is this, Isaac?
That is the CS.
Yes.
Now, if you go to the CS, he doesn't explain. You know, he will wait for the PS, and then the PS gets data from this and that. The only place we have gotten some few answers is through the parliament, when we have summoned them with the MPs, the Energy Committee. That is the only time they try to explain. And mind you, some of the explanations they give, eventually they are told, go and find out further, because they will be asked a question that will not convince anybody. They will also not be convinced after explaining. And they will say, okay, let's come back with an answer.
So what's your current question? Your current question is on this forex fluctuation adjustment.
Yes.
And justification for it.
Justification for it.
Okay.
And how much was required to be collected, and how much was actually collected. And I say there is a formula that computes that. And we know how to work with the formula. And those are not the figures we are getting.
According to your formula,
yes,
what should the cost of power be if you put in the forex fluctuation adjustment? By how much?
Yes.
By how much should this have risen? It has gone up from 2.1. It has gone to what?
6.46.
6.4.
Yes.
By how much should it have gone?
Using
the formula.
Using the formula, and even catering for the big change of the months, what they are recovering.
Yes.
At 2.5, for all the months that they are recovering, would have been bearable. But not 6, and mind you, 6.4.
Bearable to who?
To the consumer. I mean, we have just lost a few tokens per thousand, like 5.
Would it have met what Kenya Power is looking for in April? In terms of
because it is accumulated,
paying the deferred costs.
Yes, because they are collecting a shilling extra every month in anticipation that this money will be required. And remember, even when we were doing public participation, we told them, be putting funds, it's called stabilization funds, so that we don't realize some very huge hikes in between the months, because we are not able to explain. Even the consumers are not able to understand, why am I paying 28 and I had paid 24 last month? You know, so instead of that big change, they should have put some stabilization fund as a government, or they keep on deducting a shilling that goes into that stabilization, such that when we come in, if you had collected this 6.46, 50 cents every month from January last year, we would not have had that. But now the challenge would be, it is 6.46. Coming down to 1 or 2 is difficult, because even the consumers did not understand what happened.
So for purposes of everybody understanding,
yes,
the person who was paying, using 1,000 shillings in November, December,
yes,
they got 30 units.
Yes.
And now they're getting 27.16 units.
Yes.
Using your formula,
yes,
how much would it be? What would they, how many units would 1,000 bob be getting them?
In case they did not increase.
Using your formula, just using your formula.
Oh, well, using our formula, that would be around 32. Because even when they were getting that, we still had a problem.
So it would have been more units.
It would have been 31 units. And mind you, those...
From 30 units to 31 units.
Yes. We even actually...
But you've adjusted your forex from 2.16 to 2.2.
No. What we are saying, when we do the calculation from, if they were taking the shilling, the 0.5 shillings from January, that would have been 6 shillings, isn't it?
They were not. So we are in January now.
Right now...
Apply your formula.
Right now, you see, I even have a problem on how much did they need to collect using forex. I already have that problem. So even computing my formula, they first need to tell me this is how much we needed to collect. But they collected 5.4 billion. What if they needed 3 billion? Who has told you this is the deferred payment and they need to be paying for this loan? Until you have that figure, they will add a billion or two and you will not understand for what, and you will not be able to ask a question. So there is no time of using a formula there. It's first getting how much money did you need? And so why did you collect all this much? Why did this amount, 93%, go to IPPs? And why did Kenyan take this? And because they normally take in that proportion.
And you were saying that 3 of those IPPs had been retired because the contract
had
ended.
Yes.
So,
so you wonder, who are these IPPs? Of course, they pay using the generated amount. So you also need to look at how much is the generated amount for the period that has been deferred, so that you see how much was the pending payment, such that you know, now I need 4.8 billion. Why did you collect 5 point all that amount? Like now they collected a total of 5.8.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Ask the questions. When you get the answers, please come.
I think the best place to ask the questions are here, so that Kenyans can join us into asking those questions. And then you bring them, ask them. I always say that there is no forum they have ever agreed to come and explain together, so that we can sit with them. They answer something, we ask them again. They can never agree to that. But they will keep on coming one by one, so that you can give them a leeway. They will confuse you and you will be happy. You say, oh, that is the reason. But you have, many times, even when you're having that discussion, I normally try to ask
Engineer Isaac Ndereva is an electricity billing expert. He's been our guest. Keep it here for more conversations.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day.